Peter Nash, Kildimo Pallaskenry into an intermediate final. How does it feel? Sum it up for us.
It feels absolutely unbelievable. I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you. Just the whole thing went by in a flash, that game, and it's just some feeling. It's just some feeling, yeah.
And we'll talk about the game for a minute. Like, even conditions here are terrible. Like, it looked very hard to play out there. It was probably, he got off to a quick start, but Senans came into the game. Just talk to us about the conditions.
Yeah, the conditions were tough, all right. We were kind of had the battle before the game, whether we go with or against the wind if we won the toss, and we decided to go against it, hoping that as the game opened up a little bit, we'd have a little bit more space to play. So the conditions were definitely a factor. Like, you see slippy ball there, particularly in the last 15 minutes when we got to the last water break. You saw how kind of like it just turned into a battle. Like, ball slipping out of lads' hands, hard to keep it in contact. Once you got numbers around the ball, it was very, very difficult to try and break free. Conditions were a leveller, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
And you took an early lead, and you kind of maintained the lead the whole way through, even though Senans came back into the game. How important was it that you never let that lead slip?
You often hear the whole cliche, like, or when games are close, you often hear that they never got level. Do you know, like, getting level or getting a point ahead is a huge boost. If you can just keep that point ahead coming down the stretch with 5 or 10 minutes to go, they need 2 scores to win it. The opposition team need 2 scores to win it, and scores like that in a day like today, like you said about the conditions, they're hard to come by. So yeah, it was keeping that, and that's down to a little bit of character as well, and being used to playing with each other and digging in for each other. It just didn't happen. You know, I just didn't get level.
And it's not that long. It's only 3 years since we talked to you after the Junior A final. Only a few years before that, you were in Junior B. So there's serious work being done in Kildimo Pallaskenry.
Across the board, yeah. But it's more about a kind of a positivity as well. Do you know? We kind of came into the day today knowing that like a win would be a huge positive, but our positives this year have been lads consistently training across the course of the year. 2025 you can absolutely bank on to get to the pitch 2 and 3 nights a week, and just incrementally adding little things each year to try and increase kind of professionalism and improve lads at a rate that they can take on board year to year. So that's been happening. Definitely hurling up the levels in hurling as well has definitely helped. You can see the crossover with the number of players, but yeah, it's just about not overloading lads, not expecting everything to change overnight, but working hard increasingly over time and compound interest. Small things added over time, and it can be a big thing with the passing of time. You know?
And you talk about the hurling there, like you can't really not talk about the hurling. You obviously won the County Cup 2 weeks ago. How hard has it been juggling? And I suppose only in the last 2 weeks you've really been able to concentrate on football.
We're a club. Do you know, we're not a separate hurling team or a separate football team. We are a club all the way up. Do you know, across the board. Anytime hurling needs to be prioritised, hurling is prioritised. Anytime football needs to be prioritised, football is prioritised. And both panels earn the right individually to be able to get that time. So yes, it is hard to balance, particularly now that we have such a core group of players. It's not just senior hurling, intermediate football. It's junior hurling as well. It's 19s hurling. It's all those panels. 21s hurling and football coming in as well. It's all those panels, because we have so many that play. Like, there's lads there to play on 5 teams. Do you know, there's lads there that will feature on 4 teams this year: 21s, junior hurling, senior hurling, and intermediate football. And it's just about training consistently. You have to be clever. We get good people in who just stay calm and stay positive whether we win or we lose, and we take what comes our way after that. Do you know?
And I know you wouldn't have been looking past St Senans, but it's going to be Rathkeil in the final. Like, a very tough side. We're senior only a few years ago, so you know the challenge that lays ahead.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the boys have played soccer at Rathkeil for a while, and a great time for them, and they know that, and it's going to be a serious battle. We're looking forward to that. But sure, we knew if we got through today was going to be savage tough. Mungret was savage tough. As it gets a little bit colder, wetter, windier, games are going to be won on character, and there's no shortage of that with Rathkeil either, and everybody knows that. Like, you can see with the result today, Griffins are a class team, well coached, really well set up, and to come out with a result like that,